The Bromley North Line is a short branch line in southeast London, running the 2 miles from Bromley North to Grove Park, with an intermediate stop at Sundridge Park. The line has a shuttle service every 30 minutes, but why is this? The branch was originally built by the South Eastern Railway to compete with the London, Chatham and Dover Railway, who had their own line to Bromley back in the 1800s or something irrelevant, but that's enough history, we don't got time for that. So Bromley has 2 different rail lines into London, serving 2 stations, Bromley North and Bromley South. However, today, like most little branch lines, trains no longer run all the way into London and the line operates as a shuttle service. Bromley town centre is pretty important, however. It has lots of businesses, jobs, houses and all the other generic town centre stuff, and is also a big hub for local buses, including 2 of the Superloop routes, so it's not some irrelevant part of Zone 4. While Bromley does have frequent service to Victoria and Blackfriars from Bromley South, these don't serve East London or the Docklands very well. Getting to East London or the Docklands requires travelling through London Bridge with at least 1 change of line, or a slow bus, or 2 buses. And even just travelling to London Bridge or the city isn't super convenient either, as the Bromley North branch only has 2 trains an hour off-peak and 3 trains an hour at peak times. And although you can get to the South Eastern Main Line on the bus, which some of them come every 7 minutes, it's still a slow bus that has to deal with traffic. So the question has been asked again and again, what if we could give Bromley better service out of its branch line? Why are we only operating a shuttle service when the line literally connects to the South Eastern Main Line? This is down to a few things, but the main one is that the junction layout at Grove Park just isn't that great. The branch connects directly to the fast lines on the South Eastern Main Line. To get a train onto the slows means you have to cross the fasts, and this would seriously disrupt the fast services out to Kent. In order to run trains from Bromley North to London Bridge, an expensive rebuild of the junction is needed, which is doable, but there's a more fundamental issue preventing us from running trains from Bromley North to London Bridge. The approach to London Bridge is just really busy, like really busy. This stretch of track is at capacity, and in order to run trains from Bromley North through London Bridge, you'd have to cut service to other parts of the network, which really isn't something we want to do. Not only would this mean some existing services would be cut, but we'd also lose out on capacity between Grove Park and the London terminals, because unlike the 8, 10 or 12 car trains you see on the South Eastern Main Line, the Bromley North branch can only run 4 car trains. Well, the platforms are long enough, but you'd need a guard to run any longer trains as the cameras are in the wrong place. So yeah, extending the existing service through to London Bridge just isn't going to happen. Right, so if we aren't going to get trains onto the South Eastern Main Line, what if we used another line to get trains off of this branch? There's no shortage of ideas about how to do this. Plain. One idea is to extend the Windrush line from its terminus at New Cross, down the South Eastern Main Line to Grove Park, and then onto the branch. This would give a quick and convenient link from Bromley to Whitechapel and Islington, and also make getting to Canary Wharf quite easy via Canada Water. However, this either requires running trains on the existing South Eastern Main Line slows, which are quite congested, or building new lines on the same alignment, which there just isn't space for. So yeah, unfortunately, the Windrush line is not going any further than New Cross. And even if we could extend the Windrush line, the trains on the East London line are already packed at peak times and they already run every 2 or so minutes. So sending even more passengers up the Windrush line probably isn't a good idea. There's also the idea of extending the tram from Beckenham Junction through Bromley and then onto this branch to Grove Park. This would also provide a nice link to Croydon, but the issue is that this would add a lot of slow street running to the tram, and as we learned from Croydon Town Centre, cars and trams don't go so well together. So what other lines end in the area? Up at Lewisham, which is definitely a significant town centre, there's the DLR. Now, currently getting from Bromley to Lewisham takes anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, and sometimes requires a change of buses. So a direct train to Lewisham could be quite useful. Now, before you run to the comments to say the DLR is a light rail thing, it can't go all the way to Bromley, the DLR trains, given the right environment, can actually get up to some decent speed. It's just that currently the DLR network has close stops and some very windy, slow routes. So the journey time from Bromley to Lewisham shouldn't be all that bad on new tracks. But the problem is, where do you put those new tracks? The alignment along the South Eastern Main Line doesn't have space, as we already said, the same reason you can't extend the Windrush line, meaning you'd have to build new tunnels all the way from Grove Park to Lewisham, which would be very expensive. So yeah, DLR extension would be really nice, but really expensive. And unless anyone wants to cough up the money to do some tunneling, it's just not going to happen. Like, we haven't even been able to get the Bakerloo line extended yet. Wait a minute, the Bakerloo line extension. No, not the bus. There. The Bakerloo line extension would already be in a tunnel at Lewisham. Surely we could just extend that down to Grove Park and take over this line. Now, the plans for the Bakerloo line extension beyond Lewisham have it taking over the Hayes line, which probably needs its own video at some point. Subscribe if you don't want to miss out on that, and if you want to help support the channel. Oh, there's the train. Moving the camera. As I said, the Bakerloo line is going to take over the Hayes line from Lewisham, but the best way to bring it to Bromley is actually off of Beckenham Junction with a much shorter tunnel. So we can bring the Bakerloo line to Bromley, yeah, that would be great, but it doesn't have to use the Bromley North branch. Like a lot of the other ideas, it just feels like a solution looking for a problem. None of the options to extend other lines through the Bromley North branch are cheap, make much sense, or are even possible to build. Now, I want to ask the question, do we even need big expensive pieces of infrastructure to improve the Bromley North branch? I'd say no. There's actually a very simple way to improve service on this line without actually building anything new. Off-peak currently at Grove Park, trains arrive from Bromley at 17 and 47 past the hour, and then depart again to Bromley at 02 and 32 past. But the issue is that this doesn't line up super well with when the trains on the main line into London depart. The main line sees 4 trains an hour to and from London, which leave Grove Park at these times, which I can't be asked to read. It really wouldn't be that difficult to schedule the shuttle train to get to Grove Park a couple minutes before a northbound mainline train and depart a couple minutes after the next southbound one arrives. This would require 4 trains an hour on the branch though, which needs another train and a few more drivers, but that's possible and much cheaper than any of the other things that we've been talking about. And this guy's going, I'll let you watch that. But anyway, if we're going to spend money improving the line, upping the frequency and better timing transfers is the cheapest and simplest way to do this, and will probably give you the best result. Additionally, if the mainline train is running late, it makes complete sense to hold the shuttle train so that people make their transfer. We need to remember that pretty much everyone using the Bromley North branch is changing trains at Grove Park to go into London or somewhere else on Southeastern. If you wanted to just go to Grove Park, you'd take the bus. This means we need to make changing trains at Grove Park as simple and as easy as possible. Now, yes, running another train and having a few more drivers is going to be more expensive, but it's nowhere near as expensive as the other things that we talked about earlier. It's a bit underwhelming, but a simple timetable change is the best way to make use of this branch and better connect Bromley to the rest of London. So yeah, that's the Bromley North branch. Better timed transfers would be nice. I've run out of things, and you should probably subscribe. See yas. Pringles.